Tonight on SportsDesk, Canes football is gearing up for their Saturday night matchup against 18th-ranked NC State. Our In the Trenches crew recaps the ups and downs from last week's loss in Chapel Hill.
Plus, a sibling rivalry comes to a head on the volleyball court. Our reporter Ethan Gainey sat down with the Hernandez sisters to talk about their first collegiate match against each other.
And last on, freshman cross country and track and field standout El Mezio is making a name for herself in the ACC. Learn more about her journey from Georgia to Miami and the success she's had on the track.
All that and more?
SportsDesk starts right now.
I'm Ed Reed, and you're watching SportsDesk.
Hi, I'm Jim Kelly, former guy. You're watching SportsDesk.
What's up? I'm DJ Williams, and y'all watching SportsDesk.
Hello and welcome to SportsDesk. I'm Brendan Riley.
And I'm Treasure Wilson. Brendan, as we approach another game day at Hard Rock, Canes fans are eager for a win.
No doubt, Treasure. With Tyler Van Dyke being the starting quarterback and a swap in the starting lineup, the Canes, well, they're mixing it up tomorrow. But looking back to last week, Miami had 16 days off to get ready for North Carolina, and the highly anticipated matchup did not disappoint. Let's head to the Research Triangle to see what went down. Canes in the heels. Carolina has won 2 straight against the Canes, but the Hurricanes trying to get some fortune going their way after losing quickly. Starting the second half, Sam Howell with the Tar Heels up 7 from about 30 yards out, bouncing off the defenders and winning the foot race into the end zone. His first rushing touchdown of the day. He would end up with another. Now later on, Hurricanes got a field goal. This one to Jalen Knighton in the flat. Cutting upfield, there it is, and he's gone. The Rooster is loose 60 yards all the way to the crib, and the Hurricanes, they would be down 4. Now moving on later into the game, into the fourth quarter, under 10 minutes to go. This is the end of a 97-yard drive. Sam Howell with his feet again, pinballing off of Hurricanes defenders and ending up in the end zone for 6. But the Hurricanes, they would not go down quietly. Just over 3 minutes ago, Jalen Knighton into the end zone once again, his second touchdown on the day. The Hurricanes are only down 1 possession. They went for 2, got it 3 and out. Now here it is, Tyler Van Dyke with the game on the line, and oh boy, ends up in the hands of Cedric Gray, his second interception of the day. Hurricanes lose another heartbreaker, 45-42.
ACC play has not been easy on the Canes after 2 games, and things don't seem to be easing up this weekend as 18th-ranked NC State comes to town. What do the Canes have to do this weekend against the Wolfpack to pick up their first conference win? Our In the Trenches crew is here with the answer. Gentlemen?
Welcome to this week's edition of In the Trenches. I'm your host, Ember Giles, alongside our analyst, Wyatt Copeman. And Wyatt, the Manny Diaz-led defense once again struggled against North Carolina last weekend. What went wrong, and what is Miami going to have to do this weekend against NC State to pick up a win?
Embrick, I think we have to start right before the Hurricanes actually got to Chapel Hill and Keenan Memorial Stadium to face the Tar Heels after calamity 26-62 last year at Hard Rock Stadium. Travaris Robinson, the defensive backs coach, and his team went really back to the drawing board, film room, Green Tree practice field to try and get ready for this North Carolina well-orchestrated offense by Sam Howell as he did last December. And so the Hurricanes were not able to stay on the same page nonetheless. Let's take a couple of looks as where the Hurricanes secondary was continuously exploited. Here it was Ty Robinson getting the ball right up the field, Ty Chandler rather, getting it right up and all the way to the house. The Hurricanes were once again not back and not communicating in the backfield, and then all of a sudden it was Josh Downs, another big threat for this North Carolina offense. It was Sam Howell feeding him right in the slot, and then Josh Downs has been someone who has been able to work on the deep routes, and so Miami knew that they'd have to be prepared. Nonetheless, the Hurricanes were once again falling into a deep hole early on. That 25-point comeback in the second half was not completed, unfortunately. Now the Hurricanes have to face number 18 NC State at Hard Rock Stadium.
Yeah, and one player that's got a chance to play a lot more after De'Aaron King got injured was Tyler Van Dyke. He's had some ups and he's had some downs so far this season. What did you see against North Carolina?
Well, Tyler Van Dyke has had a depleting amount of resources around him, Embrick. Now we see Cody Brown trying to step up, Jalen Knighton stepping up in the place of Cameron Harris, who has now seen his season come to an end after Don Chaney was done for the season after App State. And so Tyler Van Dyke has been forced to work as a dual threat quarterback, pro style. He had to get North Carolina off of his heels early on, and so North Carolina was able to contain Tyler Van Dyke, but not to the full extent. Tyler Van Dyke struggled and also sparkled. Let's take a couple of looks at where Tyler Van Dyke was thriving. Here he finds in the pocket all the way downfield. That was to Keyshawn Smith, the 73-yard the guy who finished with 73 yards for a season high. Tyler Van Dyke was able to get him involved early on, but then you also saw him struggle, throwing an interception not only on the last play of the game that put Miami behind 3 for good, but also to an interception in Charleston Rambo. The ball was deflected off of his hands right on the outside edge, and North Carolina was able to get the ball way back downfield. So Tyler Van Dyke still has a long way to go, and Rhett Lashey's going to be able to guide him that way.
Well, that's all the time we have for this week's edition of In the Trenches. Back to you guys.
Canes fans take a lot of pride in their team, and they will travel from just about anywhere to watch Miami play. But one fan is taking this a few miles further. Reporter Anna Kuhn has the story.
After a year of watching football games from their couches, Miami Hurricanes fans are once again filling up Hard Rock Stadium, and one UM alum is particularly happy to be back.
Walking down the ramp to the seats and just opening up into Hard Rock, it felt like you were home again.
But she's actually quite far from home. Veterinarian Kim Castro is a UM alumna who lives in Daytona, Florida. For every home game, Kim drives about 500 miles round trip, adding up to about 3,000 miles per season. And she's been making the trip for 15 years.
I would travel to California for it, okay? It's worth every bit of traveling for me.
After graduation, Kim was determined to become the team's #1 fan, but she knew she'd have to do something special in order to stand out. With the help of a friend and former pro wrestler, Kim was transformed into a true Miami character named Hurricane.
I would wrestle I came out with a big cape with spikes on it. And I said, I can do that. I'm going to make this in the Hurricane colors for Kim. Just seeing the final product and seeing how happy she is makes me happy.
And as the costumes evolved, so did the time commitment. These days, Hurricane spends about 2 hours meticulously painting her face for every game. To her, it's time well spent.
My career is not me. The Hurricane, that's me. And I live for this.
But inside the stadium isn't the only place where her fanhood shines. Kim's home and clinic are lined with all kinds of UM swag, including custom shoes, bikes, and even a life-sized Hurricane. She also sports a full back tattoo dedicated to the team. And all that Canes love hasn't gone unnoticed. Kim and her husband have fans of their own wherever they go.
As soon as we get out of the car, it will take us sometime an hour just to get to the stadium because everybody wants pictures. When Miami played at Clemson, they're like, we don't like Miami, but I know who you are. We have to take a picture with you.
Kim says that becoming Hurricane has truly changed her life.
It molded me into a person, a totally different alter ego that will carry on. And I'm 80 years old. If I can still do it, I'll still be doing it.
Reporting for UMTV, I'm Anna Kuhn.
Still ahead on SportsDesk, our Hurricane Hangtime crew brings us the latest on men's hoop preseason win on Wednesday. Plus, lead reporter Ethan Gainey shows us a bond that can't be broken on the volleyball court. Find out more after the break.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
Canes hoop star Isaiah Wong has been named to the preseason first team All-ACC. The third-year sophomore guard received 37 votes, the fifth highest of any player in the league, and second highest among returning players. Wong beat out Georgia Tech guard Michael DeVoe by 12 votes. The Jersey native averaged 17.1 points, 4.8 rebounds, 2.4 assists, and 1.1 steals per game last season.
Well, there's a reason that Isaiah Wong was picked in the preseason first team all-conference, because he is a scorer. He can make threes, he can make driving layups, he can make free throws. He is a high-octane offensive player.
Canes men's hoop won their preseason exhibition earlier this week in large part thanks to Wong. And with the anticipation for women's hoops return building, let's swing it over to Tyler and the fellas for more in this week's edition of Hurricane Hang Time. Guys.
We're back with another edition of Hurricane Hang Time. I'm your host, Tyler Walsh, here with our analysts Nick Marino and Andrew Klein. Now, Nick, big win for Canes men's basketball on Wednesday night at the Watsco Center. They beat Nova Southeastern 106-95. In addition, Isaiah Wong, big night on the court. Break it all down for us.
Yeah, fans back in the Watsco Center for the first time in 2 years, and Isaiah Wong did not disappoint. The preseason first-team All-ACC nominee dropped 40 points on just 19 shots, 8 for 14 from behind the arc. An absolutely impressive performance by Wong, and 2 other Canes carried the load as well. Transfer guard Charlie Moore looked great in his first game, 25 points, and Cam McGussie added 22 as well. 3 Hurricanes carrying the load offensively.
And individually, these guys did very well, but in terms of team performance, kind of slowed down in the second half. They were outscored by the Sharks 62-61. What happened?
Yeah, the team did struggle in 2 major categories. The first one of that being rebounding. This undersized team got out-rebounded 48-41 by a Division II school. That's not going to cut it in the ACC. And second off, turnovers. Miami Hurricanes committed 18 turnovers. They did not take care of the ball. The good news, they have 20 days to figure these things out. Their next home game is November 9th against Canisius.
Well, the Times says that's going to be good for them. Andrew, on the women's side now, they haven't had much action yet in terms of play, but let's do some preseason picks for some superlatives. Rookie of the year on the women's side, Andrew, who's your pick?
Well, I'm going to have to go with Lachey Dwyer. The 4-star prospect out of Canada is going to play a big role at guard for Katie Meyer. Micaiah Gray, the starting point guard, is coming off a devastating knee injury, so she's going to need time to rest, especially early on in the season. Look for Katie Meyer to put Dwyer out there to get some confidence with the team and start to play well.
And how about that MVP preseason pick, most valuable player for the women? Who are you picking today?
Well, there are a couple different choices, but I'm going to go with Lola Pendande. Coming in from Utah, played a great role for them as a freshman, averaged about 5 rebounds and a block. So she should play more minutes here at Miami, and she should have an even bigger role. So look for her to lead this team offensively and on the defensive end.
Andrew, that is a hot take. Let me tell you, I love it. That does it for this week's edition here of Hurricane Hang Time, sending it back to you guys.
Over on the volleyball hardwood, Canes volleyball faced off, ironically, against NC State earlier this month. But for 2 sisters, the game had more on the line than just the W. Ethan Gainey is live in studio with the story. Ethan?
Canes volleyball has been dominant in 2021. They have a record of 15-3 thus far this season. Against an ACC foe, there's always high competition, but in this month's matchup versus NC State, the competition was a little too familiar for Miami's starting libero. For Priscilla Hernandez, attending the University of Miami was a rite of passage. Her older sister played volleyball at the U, and both of her parents were athletes for the U as well.
I wanted to put it even more into perspective. My cousin played baseball here last year for the last 4 years, and my uncle also played at UM, and my aunt went to UM.
So that's why it comes as such a surprise that the youngest in the Hernandez family, Saskia, chose to take her talents to NC State.
I honestly wanted to build my own legacy somewhere else, because I knew, for me, that was God's plan.
When the Canes took on the Wolfpack in a match on October 3rd, Priscilla and Saskia found themselves on opposite sides of the net for the first time in their lives.
I was really nervous. I don't really get nervous, but nervous for the fact that I could possibly lose a game against my little sister, I guess.
Saskia wasn't sure how to feel.
Sometimes when I'm on the sideline, I'm like, let's say we're playing another team, I'm like, Mr. Serve, because obviously, I'm just, saying, we just, talk on the bench. My sister was serving, and I was like, no, I can't say that.
And Priscilla was just as conflicted.
Literally talk to each other 24/7, and, she's like a mini, my baby, So, I don't know, it's just hard with, I want her to be 6'0", I don't. It's just, all these different feelings.
And while the two are trying to find that balance between love and competition, their older sister, Sylvia, was just taking it all in.
It's so cool to see 2 of your sisters on the same court competing in the ACC at top schools. So right there, it's man, these girls are incredible girls, not only off the court, but also on the court.
But while competitors in that match, ultimately, they're still sisters.
My sisters had the biggest impact on me. I look back and I think like I don't know where I'd possibly be without them. They are the most supportive.
I think it's really an honor to be her role model, just because she's mine, and even though she doesn't think it, like I wish I can be half the person she is, you know?
Well, round one went to Priscilla, with Miami beating NC State 3-0. But if and when the two meet again, Saskia told me she's taking the next one. For UMTV, I'm Ethan Gainey.
And staying with volleyball, the Canes are off to a historic start, and transfer middle blocker Aristia Tontai has quickly made her presence felt on the court. Jay Williams got a chance to catch up with the North Carolina transfer on this week's edition of Athlete of the Week.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to this week's edition of Athlete of the Week. I'm Jaya Williams here with volleyball player Aristia Tontai. Aristia, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So, Aristia, you're actually from Greece. What was it like growing up there, and how did you get into volleyball?
Growing up in Greece was awesome. My older sister had already started playing volleyball, and me and my other sister, we said, well, we can just start playing volleyball too. The more I played in the middle, the more I liked it and appreciated the position, because you do get to determine a lot of how the game goes for other players.
Do you have any pre-game rituals? Anything that you must do to get in the zone on game day?
I eat chocolate. Even if it's just a little piece of it, I've been doing this for years now, and I have to eat some chocolate before.
Is there a certain type of chocolate that you always eat?
I usually bring chocolate from home, so European chocolates.
You gotta get a little taste of home before you go out there and play. What is your biggest goal right now for the future?
I want to be at a good place mentally, and I think that's the main goal, and just be healthy. That's another thing that we realized last year that is not a given.
Thank you all for tuning into this week's edition of Athlete of the Week. We'll see you guys next time, but for now, back to you guys in the studio.
Coming up on SportsDesk, one women's track star is finding her footing at UM. Forming bonds with her new teammates, she's already making a huge impact. Don't go away. But first, it's time for some trivia. Derek King's late rally helped the Canes defeat NC State in Raleigh last year. But who was the last Miami QB to defeat NC State prior to King? Is it A, Ken Dorsey, B, Brad Kaya, C, Steve Walsh, or D, Stephen Morris? The answer when we return.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So Brendan, I heard you've been playing some flag football recently.
I have in fact, Ben.
And?
I got 3 touchdowns in 2 games. I mean, I'm not sure anyone wants to. I mean, I'm a center too, so I
Not
snap
bad.
it and no one thinks
What
about
they doing?
Anytime they're playing music downstairs, it's loud. I go downstairs, see what they doing, see what music they doing, see what they dancing to. I go play piano downstairs, they come get involved. Leah has a drum set beside it, banging that. Any music, that's what they do.
Welcome back. If you guessed B, you are correct. Under first-year head coach Mark Richt, Brad Kaya led the Canes to a 27-13 victory on the road against the Wolfpack back in 2016.
One Miami Heat star flames onto campus, while this year marks the anniversary of one of the greatest college football teams ever assembled. Niles Nassim tells us what's new on Canes social media on this week's edition of Behind the Post.
Did you miss me? Because I missed you. Welcome back to the most electrifying segment on TV with me, Niles Nassim, your host with the most. So when you see me on screen, it's time to go behind the post. First up, you never know who's gonna pop up. At the Wasco Center practice course this week, shooting guard Jimmy Butler brought the heat to campus and showed some love to the Canes basketball team ahead of the season. We gotta show love and gratitude when the pros come out to support the squad. And speaking of Canes basketball, they put on a show in their exhibition against Nova Southeastern, winning 106-95, and man, this team is live. Props to Isaiah Wong for dropping a 40-piece that was too sweet as he led all scorers on the night. And as we look to the future, it's looking pretty bright. The Canes will play Canisius in their next outing November 9th at 7:30. And well, with the MLB playoffs winding down, Canes baseball is winding up. Fall ball has just begun and the team is renewing and retooling as they prepare to make another run at greatness in the spring. The team is coming off a great season, including making a postseason run as the 2nd seed, and they look to keep elevating their stock and program into next season. But one team that needs no introduction nor elevation is arguably the greatest college football team of all time. This week, Canes football honored the 2001 national champion Miami Hurricanes team on social media. This team was absolutely legendary, going undefeated and sending 38 players to the NFL and cranking out 17 first-round picks. It will be hard to ever come close to this team, but the current Canes look to channel their greatness as they face off against NC State on Saturday night. The program is looking to bounce back after a gut-wrenching 45-42 loss at UNC on the road. With a record of 2-4, this is a make or break, so they are preparing to claim everything that's at stake. The game will be live at 7:30 on ESPN2. Well, that's all I have for you this week. Remember, be blessed, don't stress, because you can find me right here on SportsDesk every Friday. I'm Niles Nassim. I'll see you later.
Canes cross country has made major strides this season, with one freshman making school history in just under a semester. Reporter Cal Friedman has the story.
As Miami cross country prepares for ACCs, one young star is leading the way. Freshman El Mezio has been one of the top performers in the conference this fall, and is just the 2nd Hurricane to win ACC Freshman of the Week.
It was sort of like a distant goal to be like some like ACC like person of the week like this quickly is like crazy.
Mezio was nominated after running a 21:28 at the Paul Brown short run at Lehigh University, already setting a new personal best.
I was so happy because it was almost a full minute faster than the previous week at FSU. One of my goals like for this season was to get sub 22. So to get like sub 21:30 was like really, really good.
But Elle's coaches know that she's striving to become even better.
Elle's going to be one of those kids that leaves it all out there, no matter what, no matter how she's feeling, no matter how the week went, no matter how the last race went. She's going to do the best that she can every single time.
Assistant cross-country coach Cody Halsey recruited Mezio from Atlanta, Georgia for the passionate drive seen on the track, but also the person that shines off of it.
She is very competitive, but she's a good human. So just having a personality like hers on our team was already excited, but I knew that her best days are yet to come.
Mezio came to the University of Miami for a reason, to make an impact on program history.
I really, really liked Coach Halsey. The team, like when I met them virtually, I wanted to be part of a program that I could try to make better. That means that I'm gonna try to like get my time like faster and faster to attempt a school record. I would love to do that.
And with her early performances, there's no reason not to believe.
She's already made a huge impact, and because of someone like her, I'm going to be able to recruit. She was a big piece of what we wanted to do with the program, and she's just in her own way going to continue to keep getting better, and I think the team is going to go with her.
With the biggest competition of the fall coming up, watch out for Mezio and the Canes to put the conference on notice. For UMTV, I'm Cal Friedman.
Still ahead on SportsDesk, being a student athlete and eating right can be challenging. So how do athletes treat their bodies after putting it on the line? We'll have the answer for you when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
Observe a domesticated human family in their natural habitat, known to their species as the backyard.
Hey, you think I should light it now?
I think it's good.
Yeah?
Oh dear, someone is about to burn a pile of debris that's too tall, which can start a wildfire. Wait, could it be? Blimey, it is.
It's Smokey.
It's Smokey Bear. What a legend.
Hey, it's Smokey. Sorry, it was too high. Right.
Watch as he astutely ensures that there's no wind and how he removes some of the debris to create a smaller, safer burning pile.
No, you said make it bigger, baby. The bigger, the better.
Take note of our fearless furry friend here, humans.
I appreciate it. Fist bump.
Watching you.
Smokey's done it again.
Bye, Smokey.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Athletes have a lot of pressure on them to stay in shape, but in the shadows of their physical activity is what they're eating off the field. Reporter Erica Jones explores the UM student-athlete diet.
What if I told you that what athletes put into their bodies is just as important as showing up to workouts, practices, or even championship games? University of Miami Athletics makes sure nutrition is a major part of every student-athlete's training. And there are over 400 student-athletes here on campus.
Nutrition has become a 24/7 thing, continuing to implement the program with our student-athletes and making it kind of the standard.
But not every athlete realizes just how important nutrition is to their game.
We'll never understand or know how great of an athlete you possibly can be until you start to exhaust every avenue and every resource that you have available to you, and that's a big one is nutrition.
One of the resources the University of Miami provides to student athletes to help them stay on top of their nutrition game is an athlete-only dining hall, right here on the other side of the Heck Stanford dining hall. Students can come here to make some healthier choices. Let's go check it out.
So Cane Zone is we call it training table for our athletes, and it's completely separate from what the rest of the student body is getting on the other side. Now, that's what they need, that's what they deserve.
And for many student athletes like goalkeeper Melissa Dagenet, Cane Zone has just what they need to fuel their bodies.
It has like a good variety. Like it has, salmon on some days and then shrimps, which is stuff that I like. I like to eat a lot of fish and stuff. And I feel like dining hall doesn't necessarily have those things.
Our athletes aren't getting special treatment for no reason. They burn thousands of calories every day at practice, which is a lot more than you burn sitting in the stands.
As much as we demand from a whole athletics standpoint, we really treat our athletes like a professional organization because every resource they have really made available to them is what they're going to get at the next level.
So next time you see your classmates as first-round draft picks, just remember, a lot more goes into it than a few hours on the field. For UMTV, I'm Erica Jones.
The NBA returned to action this week, and we've already seen some thrilling three-pointers, crazy clutch shots, and major slam dunks. The Miami Heat made their return to action in style last night against the defending champs, the Milwaukee Bucks, in this edition of Play of the Day. Final seconds of the first quarter, Middleton finds Wara full-court heave. Blocked from behind by Max Strus. Tyler Hero gets the rebound and darts up the floor. Two fires along 3-1, and he makes it, the ultimate half-court shot. Let's take another look as we see Hero do what Hero does best, making buckets. And there's no better place to see it than at FTX Arena. Great hustle play by both Strus and Hero as the Miami Heat would go on to defeat the defending champion Milwaukee Bucks by a final score of 137-95. And that is your Play of the Day.
The ALCS could come to a close tonight in Houston with the Astros up 3-2 over the Red Sox. But while in Boston for Game 5, it's not what was on the field that had Fenway cheering, but rather a baby who stole the show. You see here on the video board, they cut away from it, but right there. The little guy with the headsets on. Look at him being held up like he's Simba out there. Went viral, went everywhere at Fenway. Saw it all over TikTok as well. And he's there. See him there, chugging his baby bottle. I mean, come on now. You can't ask for just anything much better than this. And this is probably the best shot, right up and close and personal with the little fella. That was just an amazing sight to see. And he's gone viral, and he has no idea that he is now one of the biggest things in Boston sports at the moment. Treasure, it's just so cute. You can't beat that. You just cannot beat it.
It's so funny. I like that baby Simba.
The baby Simba. But the Red Sox, they need a win tonight, but that's all the time we have for this evening. Thank you for joining us.
We'll be back next week for a spooky edition of Sports Desk. Until then, have a great night.